you sitting at a bar with boobs and stuff, going like, I really fucked up. Like,
reminded me of a story. It was in Afghanistan. This U.S. military guy he sees a farm that's meant to have like mines there that they haven't taken out yet.
oh,
And then he sees that he's lined up 3 of his kids in front of the tractor, and they're walking and the tractor comes behind it. Then he asks the dad, like, why are you putting your kids in front of the tractor if you know there's mines there? He's like, because the tractor is expensive, I can't replace it, but a kid I can always replace. Welcome to the Cancellable Podcast.
I mean, it is pretty fucked up, but like,
Give the intro, then we'll go into it.
hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cancellable Podcast. My name is Bardia. I'm here with Kurosh,
Hey.
okay, and Faisal.
hey guys, what's up?
It's been a couple episodes since I've done one of those.
Yeah, like, I don't know how to respond to
He's
you.
blushing, bro. He's blushing.
Stop it. Anyway, so he was gonna kill his kids, or
No, I'm going to put that part in.
Oh, guys, I think one of the scariest things that you can do, like as an adult, okay, this happened to me last week, is you need to go to the bathroom and like you're at a school. You know how scary that shit is? Because if you do one wrong move,
Are you a student or you just...
you're an
run into-
adult. No, because like I went for the talent show with my niece.
Okay.
And I went to the school, and when I got there, I'm like, fuck, I have to go to the bathroom. But I'm like worried because like if I go to a because there's adult bathroom, there's kids bathroom.
Right.
If you go to the wrong bathroom, you're
Wait,
like
there's an
banned from the
adult
school.
bathroom and a kid's bathroom?
Yeah.
Apparently.
We had that in our school as well. I
Oh
remember.
wow.
No, I don't remember. Why were you hanging out in the
just
kids section?
I wasn't. We were.
No, I've never seen this.
Our section was the kids section because we weren't adults. No matter if you're 18
I
or
thought
not.
you were saying there's some for like people that are like 16 and some that are 5.
No, there's not urinals to the ground so like a kid can pee. Like
You know that's not for kids, right?
for
That's
midgets. Yeah. By the way, there's
Did
a
you know this?
hilarious fucking midget.
I thought it was for
comedian.
kids.
No, it's for midgets.
Oh, I mean, same thing. They are kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the size of a kid.
A bit strong.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Strong.
very strong. Very strong.
I mean, how?
Would you have sex with a midget woman?
He's talking to you. No,
He's married. I'm definitely talking to you.
No.
No.
I mean, like it's
One night stand. I'm
It's
not
an
talking.
acquired taste. You know what I mean? Like if you like it, you like it. I mean,
There was a midget who made $20 million
that's-
apparently.
bro, that's the one
From
that's
what?
all over Instagram. She's like, I mean, she's
Bro, she's a midget. Like, there's no.
no, but for some reason, like if you look at her, it's like packaged in the right way.
Thank you, God, for the packaging.
No, it's
Well,
He was in a
Brad-
hurry.
no, but
Wait, so how did she make 20 million?
from OnlyFans.
Oh, okay.
Can you,
Good
can
for
you
her.
imagine OnlyFans change people's lives?
Yeah.
But then you have people who do OnlyFans and they get nothing. So what's the success factor here?
I think the success fact, like the rate of success, is very low actually. Like if you compare the number of people that are OnlyFans and number of people that make over $1 million from it, I don't think it's as much as people think. It's a very marginalized number of people that make it
there
on
was,
OnlyFans.
No, but
was,
think of it like this, right? It's sorry. You said something?
I was just a quick one. There was a discussion about it on, I think it was Rogan or Two Bears. They were talking about this podcast. They were saying that one of the factors that they need for it to be like for them to make a lot of money is for people need to be willing to come, correct? To pay.
I was like,
Fuck. that was
in
the
which
wrong word.
aspect?
I
That's the
think
wrong-
anyone that types in that website is willing to
No,
come.
no, that's the wrong word to use. As in, they're willing to come and pay for your like
Content.
So you need to have a presence on social media or whatever it is. As in, like you have to be sort of famous or
right,
known, so people will be like, "I'm curious to see." If you're just a random person, I doubt that.
Apparently, a lot of professionals from that industry are switching to OnlyFans instead of working for other companies. It's because there's no like.
they have their own freedom. I'm
Also,
assuming.
they've built their own audience over the years. I'm trying to keep this conversation as professional as possible, but
What are you talking about?
porn stars instead
Oh,
of putting
I
on
was like-
Pornhub,
Okay.
they're putting it on their own OnlyFans. Like instead of like going to a Pornhub shoot, for example, they just hire their own camera crew, do it independently, put it on OnlyFans, and take 100% of the
No,
profit.
but think of it like this, right? So there was a documentary that came out on Netflix a while ago, and it was talking about the porn industry.
I actually never watched it. I added it
It's
to my list and I forgot about
something
it.
like called Your Girl or something like that.
I'll
or-
find it.
yeah, and they were talking about how the industry themselves take a real big advantage of these girls, and sort of, you know, they have like a really packed schedule where they don't even have a say in it, and they get paid peanuts, right? Peanuts. I thought
The wordings are so sensitive to use right now. Like anything you say can be associated with
It's
it.
called Money Shot.
Money shot.
That's the show, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But I thought you were talking. That's something else. But
Well, you know.
but these so these girls are sort of, you know, not given any freedom to what they want to do and what they're comfortable with, and they have very small what is it called, lifespan of in the industry, because of how mentally they also get drained, and they have psychological problems and stuff. But now switching to that stuff like OnlyFans, you know, it's like in any industry. A lot of musicians, like I know one guy called Russ. I'm sure you know Russ as well,
of
right?
course, yeah.
He did one thing where he became a music producer so he can produce his own stuff. You know, he has the freedom for that. I think it's always easier when you.
I think it's the same with like documentaries, movies, podcasts. Like,
Yeah,
of course, everyone rather, instead of like having, if you can fund it, instead of having to like answer to people and then they take over the creative control and you lose all of that. Like even with a movie, like if you bring a big, like let's say one of the big companies on to fund it, then you lose some of that, like being able to like direct it the way you want.
options,
it's like it's basically business 101, right? If someone invests in you, they have a say in what
They
you're
have a
doing
say,
because
yeah.
you've invested, right? But I think I have two, like, I don't know, we just jumped into this conversation about OnlyFans.
Before
and
you
stuff.
change, if you guys want to invest in this podcast, hit us up.
Bro, next episode.
We'll take it on.
Next episode, you see we've completely changed. And
Nipple pasties and just sitting here like.
Yo, I think we need to filter out who's gonna fund it, because I feel like Kurush is gonna say yes to anything right now. With the way you're going with it, like first,
like, can you
I think
imagine?
he was
Market
thinking
is
about
tough,
like
man.
watches or like a gold chain or something, but he was like, no, nipple.
But like I'll bring up
Rogan started with pocket pussies, so you know.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his first sponsor. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Flash-
He was giving it away to every guest. It was coming. It's like, you want some? I got like 20 in the closet. They would give it away to all of
In the
them.
closet.
Yeah, they're closeted pussies.
But the thing is that like,
I don't think those are the ones you want.
They come with a mustache.
But what I was saying is that like this conversation of OnlyFans and stuff. I think I have a couple of questions for you guys. What you think about it, right?
Before we get into OnlyFans, I just want to like add something, and then we can
Yeah,
get
no
to that. Regarding movies and everything, as you were saying, one of the biggest things happening about is stand-up comedy. Because right now, a lot of stand-ups are being funded by themselves, like the comedians are doing it, and then they're putting it on YouTube, and they're asking their fans to, like, if you like it, pay like whatever amount you feel like you enjoyed it. As in, like, imagine like you pay like $5 for a ticket or $10 for a ticket. Pay that $10 through PayPal or whatever, and you like help the creator make the money they spent on it.
Yeah, instead
And
of
then-
selling their special to Netflix.
Exactly,
or
and
something.
because they're famous comedians,
So it's
they
like-
get a lot of views on YouTube,
Yeah.
and with their views, they get a lot of money out of it.
So I'll tell you, there's that concept you've said is like, it's called a crowdfunding, and they have startups, right? So they're not just doing it with movies. You're completely correct. They do it now with TV shows and stuff, but they even do it with video games. Like now, studios go on to startup pages, and one of them, I'm sure people who like know video games, is a game called Star Citizen. It's been going up for like 12 years. Bro, they hired Mark Strong. They hired what's his name, Ben Kingsley. All of these actors from just crowdfunding, right? So, and you know what's crazy about the game? This is not an advertisement or whatnot, but it's been in development for 10 years, right?
Okay.
And in the game, they've built a universe within it. So it's like an ever-expanding universe
Right,
that's
like-
huge, and they want to bring a concept where you can earn money from the game. So like they've been developing it for years. So whenever a new trend comes in, they try to add it into the game. You know, all this crypto stuff and that. But that's one of the like the examples of this crowdfunding. But one thing I would say to you is like, so now we jumped on the concept of, or at least the talking of OnlyFans, right? Do you think that like people seeing, OnlyFans and these people, especially women, right, using their sexuality to progress in such a way that they make 20 million a month, right? So some women, I mean, I've seen these
A month?
bro. Some girls make like
No,
up
no,
to
no.
5. Bro, some girls make up to 5 million a month.
I think it's only a few, and it's
Yeah,
not
yeah, but-
20 million. But anyways, yeah,
No, but
a lot of money
Making
in
a
a
lot of
short
money,
amount of
yeah.
time.
let's say making 1 million, right?
Yeah.
In a month, right? Do you think that because now I feel like we were talking about this before, but Bardia came in. We were talking about how sort of, why the Andrew Tates, these Sneeko guys and all these guys are becoming more prevalent is because, there is that big divide where you have men working their asses off and only like a small amount of them either through luck or through hard work become ultra billionaires, right? Or ultra millionaires, let's just say millionaires. But then you have a girl who, like for me, I love playing video games, and a lot of the times when when you watch people on YouTube playing a video game, you like the character, you like the when you watch someone, the commentary, the comedian or whatever.
You like
they
the
do.
personality.
The personality, right? But then you have these girls who play the video game. Of course, there's nothing wrong, right? You have men and women or whatnot. But then they know that, okay, let's say I have 10,000 followers, 5,000 of them, I'll make an OnlyFans. And from that, OnlyFans, the 5,000, imagine each one of them paying $10 or $20, right? Of course, OnlyFans takes a percentage of that, but they take $8, right? So the streamer has $8, 8 times 5,000. That's
a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, right?
40,000.
And yeah, thank you, 40,000. So that's the thing, right? Like it's so easy for them to make that money, and guys are sitting there and trying to work to make a decent amount of money. Do you think that has sparked some resentment between?
But I think it's the concept of work smart, not hard. That's one thing about it. Like that's the concept now. Like you can't be mad at something that's going on. Like that is what's happening. So like for obviously, I believe are there men on OnlyFans as well?
Yeah.
Tyga makes like 2 million a month or something.
Yeah, but he's
Jesus.
already like famous and stuff like that.
No, but I think in general, regardless of how you're making your money, there's always people who resent people who made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's from selling videos of yourself doing stuff on the internet, or if it's I don't know, like you inherited money from your family or whatever innovative thing you did and you made a shitload of money. There will still always be a percentage of people who will resent you for that. But I don't think, like personally for me, I don't care how you made your money. Obviously, like, yeah, if you're fucking doing sex trafficking and shit, we're not talking about that. Like, if you made your money in a legit way, I don't really give a shit.
You're not
how-
hurting anyone.
Yeah, I don't really care, like, how you made your money. Like, there's a different thing between, like, okay, so there's an argument that, like, with people who like sell videos, like nudity videos and stuff online, that like, oh, but what about the way people view you and all of that? Like, I don't care about that personally. They're like, oh, you're not gonna happy life, you can't find a husband or wife or vice versa, because majority of people don't want to be with you because you put yourself out on the internet. For me, like, as long as the person is doing it can understand the fact that like I respect the person that like made millions, even if it's on OnlyFans, right? I respect you on your business mind. I'm happy that you're successful. It doesn't mean I'll personally be interested in that type of person as a like a partner, like a life partner. But it doesn't mean that like I think all of them should stop, or it's not fair that they make the money easy. If there was a way for me to make easy money legally and I become a millionaire, I'll do it as long as it doesn't cross my personal ethical boundary. Like, let's say like someone said, if I can make $10 million or whatever selling my ass on the internet and that's past my ethical line, I'm not gonna do it. But if the next person says that's not within my ethical issue, I'll do it. I'm not gonna respect them less, you know?
So I think it's a very good point. And I mean, looking at it in terms of your ethical boundaries is something that's in every person, right? But the thing is that, like that Money Shot, if you watch it, yeah, some of these girls do talk about that. They talk about like, you know, when you break one boundary of yours or one line of yours, it's a slippery slope.
Right.
Right. You go down a sort of.
It's a gateway.
It's a gateway, right? Right. Where you have. You don't have anything you stand for, so you really are open to anything, right? And it takes a toll on people. But when you discuss about, yeah, I won't judge the person, right? But would you say, like, looking at it now, right? I wouldn't say that. Actually, I would say that now, because of technology and stuff, you have it more apparent, right?
Right.
Like every person you see on your Instagram feed, or even even here in the UAE, you'll see some girls that openly do it here. Yeah, they have on their Instagram that they
Put a link to it.
they put a link and stuff like that. And let's say you were browsing or you were talking to a girl, right? And you see that she has a link. Does it deter you from going?
Yeah.
It does, right?
But I don't see it as like it's the same.
I'm not saying hate the person. I'm not saying
no.
that.
Personally, it puts me off. Like I'm in general, I'm a private person. I don't like sharing stuff. Even like I'm not saying like you guys are close friends, but even with like normal friends, I don't share personal details. I don't say I'm dating. I'm not dating. I don't like sharing shit with people, with my parents, with anyone. So of course, for my personal taste, if a girl is putting all of that online, it would be like it would put me off to date that person.
Draw
But it
the
doesn't
line
mean
there.
that I look at them less, as in like, oh, you're like damaged goods, like that point of view
No, but
that people have.
but that mentality you're talking about, damaged goods and stuff. You see, that is your perception, right? That's your perception. But the thing is that, like, for me, because when you play video games, especially when you play multiplayer games, you have the ability to meet people from America. You have the ability to meet people from all over the world, right? But again, it's like it's the sheer. I mean, now it's so apparent that people are doing it. A lot of people think that as we have advanced and we are now in this phase of, you have all of these sort of the woke culture, which is one, and then you have this where people are owning themselves and making a profit out of it. But do you think that based on it, morals are being let go?
Can I answer?
Yeah, sure.
It's the same thing that I think you said that it's the whole concept that, like, okay, you have one, like you first, let's say when you first view this thing, you're like that's fucked up. But the second you kind of warm up to it and do the smallest thing that is associated with that concept, whatever it may be, the line gets blurry a little bit and it pushes a little bit further. And then you're like, okay, that's okay to do. So the next step will become more easier for you to do. And then later on, you become completely okay with doing it. You get what I mean? The whole line thing that
You
it
keep
is.
pushing the line.
You keep pushing it. And then, like, the line is, then that subject, as it was, like, over the line is over it now. So now you're open to do stuff like this. I personally think that, like, but just like you said, I don't think less of, but I think the concept itself is just, like, not something that I would ever. I don't know. I'm very.
I feel like for me, like I'm on a bigger scale. If you're taking like individuality out of it, this is where I become a fan of censorship. And what I mean by that is, like, if you made millions from doing porn shoots and whatever, right? Good for you. You made millions, and if you want to talk about it openly, talk about it openly. I like it to be censored to kids, so it doesn't influence them to think, oh, this is the cool way that I should do it. If they grow up to a certain age and then decide, oh, that makes business sense for me or for my personal taste, I want to go into it, feel free, go for it. But I think it's fucked up if a 11-year-old, either guy, girl, whatever, sees all these people making money that way, and it's easier picking that way from that age without understanding the consequences, and then not creating other potential opportunities for themselves for when they grow up.
That's
The only thing I have with it is censored to people younger ages. I'm not saying like ban them from Instagram or all of that. They have to come up with a more creative way to censor it.
You go first, and then
I was just saying that I 100% agree with that, because exposing kids, especially kids like non-adults, it's to a point that like, okay, if they, this goes to applies to a lot of things. Okay, like even the sense of like sex changes and all that stuff as well, because like if kids know that if I feel like, if like a 12-year-old boy says like, oh, I feel like a woman, and then does that kind of a thing to themselves, because now it's like they're so exposed and like, oh no, it should be normalized that people can have sex changes and stuff like that. If a 12-year-old kid says like, no, I want to be a woman, shit like that, and then does it at a young age, when they fully grow up and develop to like an adult, like mature like way of thinking, they can then maybe regret it. And this is not like
That's
something
a-
you can take back.
That's a
But sorry, I just have like one thing to add to here. But the censorship should be done, and there should be limitation. That's my opinion in terms of that. Like we call ourselves the cancelers because I feel like there's a lot of the woke shit. Fuck that, okay? Because I feel like
No, but
it's
there's
a
a
bit.
difference between censoring them to adults because of their point of view on, like, for example, leftist people running social media companies censoring right-wing people to adults. We're not talking about that. We're talking about restricting younger people under, let's say, age 18 or whatever it is, to any of it.
I get your point, but I'm saying like there's this risk to that as well. Even though I agree there's this risk to it as well. One, if until the age of 18 you're not aware of a lot of things and you're like censored, like your perspective doesn't get a lot of these stuff like applied to it, imagine you hit 18 and like all the restriction wears off and you all of a sudden hit with it, that itself can have an effect on the person. It won't be like, oh, I'm aware of this concept, but now like I have ways of like thinking about it. It doesn't.
So you've opened Pandora's box, you're saying,
Yeah,
right?
like all of a sudden you're like, holy fuck, there's sex shit. Holy fuck, there's this thing. Holy fuck, there's that thing. And then when the censorship applies, also there are things that doesn't apply to that, like the
That box we're putting
that
these
box
in,
that we're putting in. So even the influence, like imagine the whole woke shit, right? So we're like, okay, like this person can have their view on this, whatever it is. Like I'm going towards the sex change and like the content creation in terms of like OnlyFans and all that. Okay, they restrict them. But while they're restricted and they're not aware of this, there are certain things that are filtered enough to get through them, and that could itself influence their perspective. That when they reach the age of 18, they could be like heavily invested in pursuing something like that or heavily against it. There's no, you've created a black and white kind of a thing as might be able
Yeah, but
to.
see, my counter argument to that, I have two counter arguments.
Okay.
One is that right now we're living without any censorship on that. You're saying that if you put the censorship when they reach the age limit, they get all the information all at once. But now that you don't have the censorship, as soon as you get the phone, you get all the information all at once, just at a younger age. And my second counterpoint to that is when you're till a certain age, we can all argue the age, whatever, but for the sake of the conversation, let's go with 18. Till then, when you're young, you are not necessarily responsible for the information coming in at you, right? So if people that are in charge, regardless if it's your parents, if it's your government, whoever it is, they should be in charge of keeping you in kind of like a vacuum, right? But if at 18 you remove all the censorship and you get all the overflow of the information, you're more responsible for your own actions than when you were 11.
I get your point here, right? And the thing is that what I would say is that if we're talking about how, if you have censorship and you stop your kids, first of all, I don't believe anyone can fully control their kids now, because I've seen like
It's gonna get
6,
harder.
7-year-olds using iPads and playing games, and the advertisements on the sides are there. I think that's like nearly impossible. I think for me, someone who, when I have kids, I feel like I'm gonna try to make them avoid technology, like these social media stuff, which is nearly impossible because you alienate your kids with other kids, and they're like, look at this backward guy whose family doesn't give him a phone or
You
doesn't
can't
give him.
do that.
You can't.
It's
That's the problem.
Especially like, let's say we have kids in like next 5 to 10 years. Imagine how much more needed that is. But one thing you shouldn't forget is that no solution is going to be 100% proof, like 100% bulletproof, right? So it's either we have what we have now or something that, let's say, even limits 60% of what's out there. 60% is still better than nothing.
No, that's very true. And
That's,
I'm actually for that scenario more, because we all know, and especially being in a region where the culture and religion is very more heavily worked upon than in other regions. You would say that kids, especially when they're under their family's roof, and the moment they get into university, they sort of become animals, right?
Right.
They try everything because they're finally out of the.
Thank you.
No, but they.
I don't think he was saying it as a positive, but okay.
I know.
I'm not saying that they're acting like animals because it's wrong. I'm saying that more of, they've been let loose, so they can try anything. No one's going to know about it. They can do alcohol. They can go see girls or boys or whatever. So that natural thing, which happens to all of us, right? When we're restricted from something, the moment you're not being looked at is when it's same as like Adam and Eve and the apple, right? Don't do it. You have that natural tendency to want to try it, or that intrigue.
Question,
right?
why can't I, and everything.
Yeah, but let me give you a personal experience, personal example on this. See, the thing that I'm saying, that like you leave that decision to the parents, you don't let it just flow to the kid, is that then the parents, they can control it. Not all parents are perfect. Some people are going to overdo it. Some people are going to underdo it, but whatever. But because that kid is a direct responsibility to those parents, the decision should be left to each parent and the rules of their family. The example I'm going to give you is with alcohol. My dad, from a young age, he let me try alcohol with him. From like when I was 11, it was a sip of beer. Then I was 13, it was 2 sips of beer, whatever, gradually, right? So when I reached the
2 shots of vodka.
yeah, but when I reached the age that it was legal for me to drink, I didn't have that thing that like, oh, I was kept in a bubble, I wasn't allowed, so I'm gonna go fucking buck wild and just get blacked out drunk every night. Because it was introduced to me, I already knew what my limit is to a certain amount, because obviously I'm not drinking half a bottle of vodka with my dad, but because it was my father's decision to raise me this way, and for me, that worked.
But that's a 60-40 rule you were saying. Which
That's what I'm saying. They leave the control to the parents. I understand some people are going to get fucked up because some parents are fucked up.
Yeah.
But if you take average of it, I think it would be better if it's under each individual parent's control rather than just, 11-year-old watching a girl with her pussy lips sticking out of her yoga pants, because that gets around the
Jesus.
No, because this happened. Instagram doesn't allow nudity, right?
Oh,
so what girls started doing is they post yoga stretch tutorials, but they're wearing thin ass fucking
like fishnets and stuff
paper
like that.
thin yoga pants, and they're doing yoga poses. They're stretching. They're like, now lift your legs, with 2 fat ass pussy lips hanging out of it.
Anyway,
Sorry, I got
like
that really annoys me though.
yeah, I understand. I just like
Cut you off guard.
yeah,
Kill
really
them,
did.
kill.
No.
Oh my god!
Don't
You see, like Crush is like the actual supporter of all of them.
Oh, you're 26 too, right?
Yeah.
The age limit should be 25 and a half and below. 26 is good.
Okay, so there are 2 things. One, the whole concept, the whole 60-40, your example makes properly gives our point, is the fact that if there is 100% censorship, it doesn't there's no warming up to it. Okay, but if you say like the whole 60-40, you get to warm up to
It's not possible.
It's not possible
North
at all.
Korea is trying 100% and shit still gets through.
Yeah,
I'm not saying OnlyFans girls get through to North Korea. But,
Can you imagine like on the border?
they're eating cockroaches together.
Like
watching
anorexic
OnlyFans.
people eating the rat stews and shit like that. Yeah, like no, but
Eating rats and watching a girl fucking hamster.
Guys, have you seen it?
Part of the experience.
Guys, have you seen this video where there's like a soup being made and there's 2 rats fighting in the soup? And they're like, when you have dinner and a show,
it's actually very good.
bro, these rats are actually like grabbing each other's throats, and the guy's like, "Ping, pong, pong," like, I don't know what I'm saying.
Right. So, the second point I wanted to make is
Before you make that point, can I say something about the Hoda thing?
Yeah.
I just found out today. You know, all Bruce Lee movies, he never made any of his noise. Those are voiceover from a different person. You know,
What?
all the wah, like all that shit
Can
wasn't
you,
Bruce Lee.
Wait, can you do it again? And then
I love that he did the shake because like he
Because
was
that's
so,
how he does it,
yeah,
you know,
he was like
It's intense. But apparently
Game
all
of
the like
Thrones.
when they kick and shit and those noises, those weren't Bruce Lee. He would make noises, but not
Yeah,
like a
but I'm
chicken
pretty
getting
sure when
fucked,
they
like,
punch us, I wasn't.
No, but like you know, like in martial arts, you exhale, you go like.
Yeah,
like, you
I know.
He was doing that, then the director went like, not cool enough.
Hold on.
Bro,
Yeah.
you know, Jackie Chan used to be a stunt double for him.
Yeah.
And Jackie Chan, like apparently Bruce Lee used to be a little bit too hard with the
Kicks,
with the
it
no no
hits him.
with the stunt people.
Yeah.
And one time he kicked Bruce Lee Jackie
Jackie.
Chan in the face, and Jackie Chan acted like he was super hurt. And Bruce Lee came to him, was like, "I'm sorry" and stuff, and he was like acting super hurt, so he'd get close, you know. Oh yeah, no, it's okay, you know.
So your second point.
Wait, one second. I'm going to gather because like there are basically the concept of like first of all, having parents do the whole 60-40 thing, we also have to be aware of the fact that one, there are fucked up parents and there are people who don't have parents as well. Like you have to think about all those stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing is that there are, in terms of like alcohol, for example, I do completely agree. Warming up to it stops a person from going too ham the second they get to drink. They don't black out every night and stuff like that. At the same time, I do believe that when it's the only in control of a parent to give that limitations and like what they are allowed to be exposed and everything, it is based on their understanding. You have to think about in terms of technology. When we were kids, our parents when technology started advancing, we were trying to help stuff because we understood they didn't. So there are things that like if they don't understand it, the kid won't be exposed to it as well, which is not good. That's for one. Two, a parent has so many other things to do. Imagine all that information to be able to filter. I'm not saying this is something that can happen. We're just talking in theory, but I'm saying these are the things that can be wrong with it. And what my main point about this is that we all have our unique personalities and how we are about the environment we grew up with. There's so many biological, environmental factors that have given into the personality we are right now, our experiences and stuff. If you leave it to the parent to filter stuff and the way you like, it gives so much control of the parent over the child's like personality that you might be you're risking them becoming an exact product and duplicate of the parent themselves. You know what I mean? There's no personal growth. There's less personal growth because the freedom is
No, but you're
You
not.
still have school. You still have friends.
I understand, but imagine the amount of shit that in Iran, for example, the censorship is insane. Okay, remember how much we even learned ourselves from being in school and talking among us, even asking our teachers and everything, because like the censorship is pretty hard over there. So
They go pretty hard.
Yeah.
oh hella. So
They're good at it.
pretty.
We're better at getting around. But, it is what it is.
Next episode, OnlyFans is sitting so bad.
So there was a van that took these two guys.
Like I don't know what happened, man. Like immediately, we didn't even put the episode up at the No, but I'm saying like the freedom is that whole 60-40 thing. It would be a good thing to warm them up towards some stuff, but I don't think it's that even is possible. Even in theory, that we're discussing something theoretical.
But you're saying set the limit at 60-40. I'm saying aim for 100. You might reach 60. You know, and even that's just we're talking about censorship of certain aspects of social media, but the other aspects of life isn't like removed. They're not getting homeschooled and never
They're
leaving
not
the
going
house.
out
You know,
to people and
the
stuff
other
like that.
aspects of life is still there.
I think you guys made a very good point about how your parents sort of eased you into things, right? To show you there's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I think that's very important on many aspects, right? I think that 60-40 is just a rough estimate of, like try to control. There's a Black Mirror episode. I don't know if you'll see it yet, but it talks about censorship. I don't know if you've seen it yet, where a company comes in and puts a device in a girl's brain where anything that the family wants to be blurred out can be blurred out.
Oof.
So
No, I haven't seen it yet.
You watch it.
I'm
very
telling you,
interesting.
like
Very interesting.
season 6 just came out. I'm still season 2.
Yeah.
Like I'm
So
building.
they do bring I give credit to Netflix. They do bring up these aspects because now there's even companies that are in the U.S. and other places where they are trying to develop programs to censor and to protect children and protect from maybe what the family doesn't see as something that should be given to a child. And like I'll go back to the point of when you guys were talking about let's say transgender and let's say mutilation of the body to get what you want. is 18 really the age? Because I'm 31 and I still don't know in my terms of my job, in terms of my degree, if I took a right one. Like, what really is the age that we can say I'm fully set on doing this? Because, like, I'm sure all of you have done something at 18 where you regret.
100%. But like, you
know,
gotta hit
even
the bell
going
curve.
to
You
25
gotta hit
and
the
stuff.
bell curve. Like that's basically what you do. Like, yes, you miss a couple, but if you hit the bell curve, you make sure that majority at least are at a set of mind that like they'll make the proper
But
decision.
that bell curve could be like you sitting at a bar with boobs and stuff, going like, I really fucked up. Like,
That's what's gonna happen.
No,
Like,
but
Can you imagine?
the issue in the US is certain doctors are giving chemicals to children that are 11 and 12.
yeah, that's what I don't agree with.
So
And the
if you-
11 and 12-year-old has the right to say to his parents, no, I feel like this. And like,
Yeah.
dude, at 11, 12, I was like, I'm a dinosaur. Like, or, you know, like,
yeah,
it's-
but then if you put it too late, the issue becomes the people that actually feel that way. There's a lot of risk, like you see, like people who weren't allowed or didn't go through with it. The suicide rate is higher, and they deal with even after transitioning.
But
even-
suicide rates are higher after.
Yeah, but a lot of people, because let's say against their will, they weren't allowed to do it till a certain age that they became independent. They still deal with a lot of trauma that was involved with living in the wrong body for that many years, right?
That
So
data is
either
not,
way,
like-
either ways, there's a risk. There just has to be like a middle ground that like people who actually are that way and are because some people change their gender and that's what they wanted and they live happily ever after like with that, right? Not
yeah,
everyone
but
regrets it.
statistically,
Yeah.
they say that the rates are higher in suicide because the people regret.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
sorry, I'm gonna say about the data itself. The data, I believe, it can be coded as a statistic data that could be accurate and be dependent on, because the inaccuracy of it is because right now the whole concept of sex change and everything has become so normalized that a lot of people do it. So right now the rates of people suicide after sex change and all that are high. You have to wait for that to pass.
So you're saying there's a line.
Yeah, because previously when the sex change was not as common and common and normalized, what the fuck, common and normalized, then at that time a lot of the rate of suicide was extremely high, and people were like, oh, statistically the rate of suicide is extremely high because people are not allowed to have sex changes. They
Okay.
don't feel
I
like
get-
themselves.
yeah, I get
So
you. That makes
they will
sense.
argue
Swing
that
the opposite
data,
way,
and now this data is coming. That there has to be a time period where the duration of it passes, so it doesn't become an anomaly. Like, oh, it's too
No,
high.
that's a very good point
Like-
because I mean,
So both sides could be argued, but I think everyone, I mean, I know everyone doesn't agree on this, but majority do, that children, like, yes, I understand 18, you can make decisions that you're going to regret, but still, 18, you can be partially held responsible for, listen, if at 18, you pick up a gun and you shoot someone, they put you in jail with grown-ass men. So if they're holding you responsible for that, you can be to some part responsible if you get a sex change and regret it later.
I think honestly, those are two different sides of a coin because if you look at it, we're discussing about something that only affects you, right? Your change, your this. When you are someone that's willing to take someone's life, I think that becomes it's like the argument of civil and then criminal.
Yeah, but what about the doctor that does a sex change to a 12-year-old?
Well, I mean, again,
Shouldn't he be?
to be honest, I think that, at least from me, right? I don't think any doctor should support that. And
Yeah, same. But majority of doctors agree with that.
yeah, but again, if it's in, you see, remember, I think we all operate under the premise that if it's legally right, I can't be held responsible, right? They can criticize later on and say, how could you do it? He said, listen, the guy came to me. I can refuse him, but I'm a doctor at the end of the day, right? I have a business. I have this. If the person comes to me and it's within the laws, which you people have voted for, then that's not an issue.
The screening process should be much tougher, not just like, oh, I feel like it.
Can you imagine there's like an 11-year-old sitting there and they're like, why do you want to do it? I just want, tell us in a 400-word essay, a 4,000-word essay.
No, it's like
Only
you know what I
using
mean? Like a psychological process, like test and everything for it to actually be like identified as like it's a proper need and it has to be met.
Even
but
then, I don't
even
think it
no,
should be.
again, I'm saying 11 is way too young. I'm 100% with you on that. Even 18, just like we said, we have to decide. When you say 31 is also something you're like, some stuff that you doubt, you maybe there are mistakes and everything. Yeah, I understand. But I think even 18, could be argued it's like you're still too young.
It's better than
Because
12 though. Like
18 is definitely better than 12, but even older could be better than 18 because here's the whole
but the thing
adult
is, you can't tell
bathroom.
people you can vote, but you can't decide your own.
Yeah, but
you know?
but you can't drink. But you can
You
decide
can
on who can.
everywhere else in Europe, everywhere.
Yeah, but the
you know.
you
concept
can drink
like
before 18.
No,
in Europe is
in UK
18.
you can drink from 17
Oh, yeah.
with a parent.
Yeah.
From 16 actually.
Germany is like at 16 you can get a beer, at 18 you can get.
In Germany, when you're born, they give you a beer.
Yeah, basically. So like
Russia,
there are things like I can't drink, but I can be part of deciding who's the next person in power that's gonna decide the fate of the country. For example, like those stuff could be argued too. Like 18, but the whole adult bathroom thing. The reason I knew we had an adult bathroom in our high school is because I remember one of our like classmates was using it, and they were like, "You can't fucking use it. This is for principals and teachers."
Oh, okay, so
And
teacher's
it,
bathroom.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
it
know.
was
Yeah.
like
we
adults.
didn't refer to it as adults bathroom, by the way.
well, I remember this conversation because I was like, what the fuck kind of an argument is that? The person was like, oh, I'm 18, I'm told I can use it. We're like, no, this is for teachers. You have your own bathroom. What kind of shit do you need? That's like, there's
Yeah,
not
but
much
you
of
also
it.
remember these kids, like, they smear shit on the walls and...
Okay, no,
What school
there
did
are-
you go to,
no,
bro? What the
there are- okay, there are like floors for like younger kids or different sections.
No,
and
but I-
stuff.
but-
Also, they're not caged monkeys, bro. Like,
Like,
chucking shit on
I
the
have,
wall.
bro, I mean, as in when the school I was in...
I mean, remember
Kids-
in my elementary school, someone was shitting in the classrooms.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah,
Like,
serial shitters and stuff
the
like
serial
that.
shitter, yeah.
But going back to my point of
Actually,
like...
yeah, you're very right.
Yeah,
now that,
exactly.
now that I think about the shit I've done.
Bro, do you not remember like how as children we are so bloody fucking stupid, yeah? Like I remember one time we'd go into the bathroom and I don't know, I'd see my friend just take some towel or tissue, make it wet, and just throw it
Launch it
to
as
the
a-
room,
yeah.
just yeah, and go, okay. Like what did you achieve? You know, like as kids, what was the damn bro? You're so cool. You just stuck tissue on the roof.
It was stupid shit. Like for us, it was taking a can of Coke when I was in Iran, threw it in the air, stand in a circle. Like the same game you guys play with an arrow. We didn't have arrows in school, so we played it with a Pepsi.
I'm glad, actually.
Yeah, but to be fair, like arrow coming down, hitting you in the head, and a Pepsi hitting you,
Yeah,
still gonna do
I mean,
some
you
damage.
just lose some syllables.
Yeah.
Concussed, like for sure.
Yeah, but it was like who has the most balls to like stand there while they can't. Like how does that like
That no,
like
doesn't make sense.
determines like courage or some shit? Like
Do you think it's
I
like
go to war behind you. You took a Pepsi can to the head. Like,
he's strong. He no move when coke come
bro,
down.
you just see like 8 dudes, like I don't know, 14-year-old, just like standing there like this, like waiting with a Pepsi to hit them in the
And
head.
one of them was gonna be a scientist, and then he got hit. He's like, I'm gonna make.
No, none of them were gonna be.
Have you
They're all my-
tasted hay? Like, it's so good.
Bro, I'm telling you, man. We used to do some like imagine, you know, in school you'd have the bars, you know, from leaving. Our school had bars, okay.
Your school had blocks, block A, B, C, D.
Bro,
Oh, no,
ours-
that was
no, we had like
same
we had
school.
sections like so grade like
so
12B,
do
12C.
prisons.
But bro, imagine. So we actually had locked gates inside the school, yeah. And I remember one guy was like, "Let's see if I can put my head through it," and he just puts his head through it and he gets stuck.
And then what happened? Like, cool.
No,
we'll go home. You
no,
stay
we,
here.
We were like, oh, go call the key master. You know, the guy who has all the keys and stuff. I don't know what he was supposed to do. Like, take the key, put it into the guy's head, turn it. Yeah, he's good now.
like scrape the side of his head with the key.
So I remember
the
the
blood
prince-
can be used as a lube. We can moisten his
I'm
head
telling you,
out.
so
Better
like,
to call the priest over.
Yeah,
You
like
come on the ear. Lube it up.
no, but I remember because you know, like it would be so funny. We would be sitting, we'd be there, and imagine like the principal would tell us, "Okay, guys, breaks over. Go back to the classroom." This kid just.
Head
Between
stuck in it.
head stuck with the and you just hear him, my head hurts, and we're all sitting in the class like, and that's natural selection at its finest, you know.
Actually, yeah. Because in reality, if this was like a couple centuries ago, a lion would have came in.
Bro, that's
Yeah.
that's the thing. If you
Darwinism, man. That's
Yeah.
that's how.
but
it
have you
happens.
seen seen these videos of like what are they called? The
Antelope?
no in like they have in Africa they have those bulls, but they don't call them
Hogs. No, sorry.
Bites.
not bison. Bison are huge, bro. You know,
No, you're talking about species of pig or what?
not like it's like a cow, but it's like a skinny one with horns. It's not antelope or anything. Anyway, it has a name,
Okay.
right? Okay, buffalo or whatever. Buffalo, call buffalo.
Okay.
Bro, they're drinking water, right? And there's
Yeah.
like 8 of them. Okay.
Yeah.
They're drinking. A crocodile takes one of them,
Yeah.
and he's just like
Yeah,
like
they just stay there.
They run away for a second, then come back and start drinking.
To be fair, bro, if it's hot, like imagine you're in the desert, right? Stranded in the desert, and there's only one place you can drink from.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
you know there's a
But
crocodile
wait,
there.
bro, but you guys were drinking when one of them got caught. At least have some pride and be like,
I mean, there was
You
a
know-
A moment of silence, guys.
the buffalo thing. I remember. You would definitely be able to correct this. On Rogan, they were talking about like how like killing them was so easy because if you kill one
Yeah,
and
they
it
would
drops
freeze,
dead,
yeah.
everyone would just they all just like
No, it's
stay
not-
there. Like
It's not that.
I like how you sit there and freeze.
No, they legit. They would.
It's like a challenge.
they would pretty much like just freeze in place. Like they wouldn't run away in different directions
another
because they didn't
type.
have natural predators back then in North America.
Another one was the one that they
Oh, yeah.
just dropped from the cliff. What was that one?
Yeah, so I think it was Native Americans. They would do this. They would like find like a herd of buffalo or whatever it was. If they're on the edge of the cliff,
And hurt them.
they would just like go circle around them, and then instead of the herd just running through them, they would get scared and just. It was in Lion King, basically that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Simba.
I like how a kid started. It was in Lion King.
it's
Did you
true.
see?
That's true, bro.
But
Have you
that's
seen the
that's called-
animated-
Have
Bro,
you seen monkeys still lion cubs?
Yeah, that's
Well, yeah. I mean, the ending is not exactly the same as Lion King.
They don't raise them.
Have you seen? You know, one time I had to explain to my mom. Yeah, she sent me a video of a baboon taking a puppy,
Oh no.
and
That's
my mom was like, "Oh my god, they adopt them!" And I'm
Did
like,
you hear about in India a couple of months ago? I think this was a couple of months ago. Apparently, a street dog attacked a monkey and it killed one.
"Oh," and they started a war, and there was a video of like hundreds of baboons. and
Yeah,
hundreds
so
of dogs.
apparently
it's
somewhere.
edited, bro.
No, it's not a video. It's around 200 or 300 puppies were thrown off of buildings because monkeys would steal them and just chuck them off the building. Yeah.
Because it killed one, right?
Because it killed one,
I heard
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so now I have to. Now my mom's gonna know this. Thanks, bro. Because I had to explain to my mom. She's like, she took the. You see, because it doesn't like grab it and be rough. It
No,
takes
it babies it.
It
yeah.
takes it and no, but actually,
Skydive.
So-
Parachute. Oh, fuck, this
but
is
that's-
dogs. I like dogs. Man.
yeah, exactly. You're like a
Bro, I would-
dog lover.
I would fuck up those monkeys.
But-
For just one puppy, I would John Wick.
But okay,
I
you
don't
see the
blame
monkeys? He's here.
No, but you have to do like grab them by tails and just hang them to make the example. Like they're all
Not just
hanging.
that, no.
Bro, you know my grandma used to do that shit, but not with
monkeys?
monkeys. No, she used to do it
With
bees,
what?
With bees.
Oh, put on
So,
a stick.
Bro, imagine I was in a garden in England, yeah, and my grandmother has like this is Hillbrow in Brighton. So in the back of it, there's a huge like hilltop where it's all hers, right? And I used to look at the vases, and I'd see these vases and the soil, and then I'd see, bro, you know these little toothpicks,
Yeah.
bro, hundreds of toothpicks with bees' heads on them. Imagine as a kid, you're like, what the hell is this? And I went to my grandma, and I'm like,
What was
"Who-"
the purpose?
So listen to my grandmother being very gangster. She's like, to remind the others. I'm like, wait, after the 100th one, like now I think about it, the 100th one, it's clearly
I
not
don't think
working.
they're getting the message.
Exactly. But you know, bro, she put them in such a way that it was like they were surrounding the plants. And
Don't touch my plants.
yeah, and like, bro, there were so many of them. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, like.
Jesus Christ.
Apparently, killing bees can end humanity. So your grandmother had a big part in that.
Remember the movie?
B movie?
Yeah, B movie, right?
The cartoon with
Yeah.
Seinfeld.
I don't remember. I don't know. But
Seinfeld did the voiceover for it.
well, I was in Iran, so it was voiceover.
Same. I found
It was my friend Amir.
Bro, actually, I feel like the cartoons in Iran were fucking hilarious because the voiceover made it so much funnier. Because it was not like, you know how you watch like some cartoons and it has a voiceover, so it's like, and yes, that's how I would take my revenge, like shit like that. No, this one was
It
like,
was
they
like
would do so.
different dialects from like different parts of Iran with accents and shit.
It was-
with like inside Iranian jokes that like,
Yeah.
oh, if the city is known to be lazy, they would include that into the Disney
Yeah.
movie.
Oh,
and shit.
wow.
Yeah, it was so
much better
good.
than
That's
Disney.
smart. That's
so
smart.
much better than Disney.
What was that movie? The Hedge, like the cartoon, The Hedge, or something like. Or no, opening season.
Oh,
Yo, my God.
That cartoon
was
with
so
the voiceover
good.
was so fucking
Wow,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. Toy Story. Holy fuck, that was fucking
Toy
good.
Story.
Can I ask a question about our previous topic? And it kind of relates to our previous episode as well. You know how we were talking about Darwinism? So now people like that guy you mentioned that like he got stuck between the two metal bars. Back in the day, a lion would eat him. Today, they put some Vaseline on it. He comes back out, right?
Yeah, he shouldn't have survived.
If there was a way to get rid of those people, what do you think would be the way to do it?
I just get 2 bars. You know you're gonna do it again. It's like I mustn't.
No, but like there'll be dead bodies everywhere that way because there's a lot of those people. You know. So what would be your method of choice in these days to recreate Darwinism the way it should have happened?
Just don't help them.
That
I
makes
think
it
we
very
need a more
difficult.
quicker way.
It
It's
makes it
gonna
very
take a while.
difficult.
Wait, so if someone gets their head stuck, I just go shoot him?
No, but I'm asking, what would be the way to clear up what nature should have done?
I think again we're in that time and progress in our society where we don't have to relatively look at Darwinism and be like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to go.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, there's no longer tigers and lions that are out there that's going to finish
that's
the
what
job
I'm
for
asking.
you.
That's-
How would you artificially recreate that? What would be the most effective
No,
way in your...
but do you think that maybe it's changed in a sense that Darwinism has become more, I would say more punishing because those people who are not able to adapt and not able to go with the times sort of get into situations themselves like extreme poverty,
Yeah.
it's more punishing than
Yeah, I guess the end goal has changed. Before, the end goal was to survive in nature. So then the consequence of doing dumb shit was to not survive in nature.
But think of it like this, right? The premise in which human beings live in has changed so much now. In those days, do you think we paid rent? Do you think, like, when you look at Neanderthals and you look at these people, the hunter-gatherers, do you think someone was like, yo, you got to pay for this? No, it's you eat off the land.
Chop. Time.
Bro, where are my 4 berries, man?
Either pay up or move the fuck out. Dude, it's just a tree. Like, I'm just using a tree. Get the fuck
Yeah, but
out.
can you imagine they're looking at a guy, dude, Jacob? That guy's got 3 trees.
that motherfucker.
Fuck that bit.
No, the hunters come back with a buffalo. It's like, I'm trying this vegan diet today.
Get the fuck out of here. No, but...
But bro, apparently that's the whole aspect of blood types, right? They believe
Based
that
on food?
based on food, right?
I've
they're
heard that. Like,
yeah.
if you have a certain blood type, your body will respond so much better to certain like food
I thought
groups.
it's more than blood. I thought it's like
No, so I'll explain.
genetic thing.
Sorry.
You're gonna explain it, so like better.
Yeah. So from what I understand is that you have O blood type and you have AB, okay, and then you have AB together, and then you have like just B, right? So they say that A and B were more the gatherers, the ones that were getting the berries and the leaves
Right.
and stuff, while the O were more of taking hunting.
That makes sense. I'm all.
I'm
Yeah, you're O.
You're
Both
O
O?
too? Negative? Positive?
Yeah, me too.
positive.
Negative.
You're negative.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
O negative is very rare.
I'm O.
I know, baby.
It's not good.
Actually,
actually
one of you benefits from it because one of you can receive blood from everyone.
No, that's the whole A and B. Like basically,
AB can get from everyone. AB positive.
no.
can get from
AB can get from anyone.
Anyway, we'll put
A
us.
can get, like fuck. I need to remember this. A can only give to A and take from A. A B can do the same. Like just like A B can take from A and B. O is they call it the
universal donor.
universal
It's
donor.
plus or negative. Which one is it?
I think
Both
I'm
of
pretty sure. I think it's. I'm sure about the positive one. I don't know about the negative one, but I know the positive one is like in any situation I can donate blood.
Okay,
like
so
it's needed.
let's say O was hunters, A and B were gatherers. What the fuck is AB? Bunch of pussies didn't do nothing.
No, but they were gatherers as well.
They
So
were gatherers.
the
too?
group.
yeah.
The
So the
blood
thing is that they believe that because the hunters themselves would go out and hunt for weeks on end, they would usually catch small things to eat at the time, right? So that the biggest enemy to a mammoth was human beings. We actually drove them to extinction, right? Because human beings, and I think I've said this in a podcast previously, is that human beings were the apex predators, not due to anything other than stamina. They would injure an animal and
Just
walk
follow
it to
them.
a death.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would
Similar
chase
to
it.
Wolves
Wolves do the same thing, but us as human beings, we could track it, we could follow it. So a mammoth never had time to relax, right? But they say that because human beings themselves, especially O types, were so eating more of meat themselves, you guys naturally, there's a book called Eat for Your Blood Type. which
Okay.
discusses about how eating for your blood type will make your energy levels good. And
I can find the link and we can put it in the description. Basically, you would say what your blood type is, and it would give you the dietary,
General,
like
yeah.
kind of a branch that like what kind of foods would be beneficial for you, and avoiding certain types of food is actually
very good for you.
Like I
it
think
will-
now you can do the genetic testing, like the 23andMe and stuff, and they tell you specific like this.
did it.
I
I did
think
it, yeah.
you did it.
Mm.
So it tells you like
I'm more
what-
Neanderthal than most people, which is weird. They say that
no, it's not.
no, there's people.
It makes sense.
in what sense, because of his height and stuff, are you saying? No, because
It could be
you know,
aggressive, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's more Neanderthal traits. I feel like.
Apparently, like the weird thing is that Neanderthals and what we are was a split. Like
Yeah.
there's so we kind of pushed them out of existence, which is
Yeah.
fucking weird, man. Can you imagine?
Survival fittest.
And
Can
there's
I-
pygmies. Have you heard of pygmies?
Yeah.
Small people.
Yeah.
Like there was another.
the one that Ibrahim was
think-
talking about.
No,
No,
that video with the hair. and
No,
stuff.
no, not
No,
those.
so they believe that they were like
different species of humans.
different species
basically.
of humans. Neanderthal was one of them. More compact,
Yeah, yeah.
physically strong
Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens, which
the,
us.
that wiped out
Neanderthal.
Yeah,
And then there was a third like a third link,
I
which
think
was
there's more than 3 actually.
I have no
There's
idea.
a book called Homo sapiens. You should read that.
No, but Homo sapiens is a book about overall.
Yeah, but it
No.
gives you a general.
I have the
it
book, it's
talks
really
about
good,
it. Yeah, it's
I'm
a
gonna
good
get
book.
it. I'm looking for one.
There's yeah, it's a very good book, Homo sapien. Then they have another book called Sapien.
Oh, sorry, sapien.
Sapien,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
talking about
that's the
sapien,
book,
not
yeah,
Homo
sapien.
sapien. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the blood type. That's a scenario why meat and stuff is.
Well, I wanted to answer like the question about what are the certain things you can do, and like
Wipe out people.
wipe out people would be a bit like Hitler to say it, but like I'm not gonna lie, like it's a bit much of a
Did you just use Hitler as adjective or whatever it is?
yeah,
Hitlery?
I guess.
you use.
Oh my god, he learned how to say the adjective part.
What did they say? Adjective.
Yeah, it was like you learned.
Natalie will be proud.
Oh, we didn't air that anyway. Like it's
No.
not actually.
Oh, it didn't go.
No, that
No, the
episode,
game
it wasn't.
We'll do another one.
No one knows what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just get to the one I was gonna say. I think we've had this discussion one night where we were with friends and stuff where we were talking about this. It's the fact that I think if the standard, not if you want to apply for a job, you need to have like 12 years of experience, 5 PhDs and shit like that. Not that. The standard of what the society would lean towards to, as in like, okay, so this is the way to do it and all those stuff, that when you raise up the bar, there are certain people who make it through that. And that's how like maybe the less intelligent and all these stuff, the one that are like slowing down the evolution and the progress of humanity will kind of, you know,
See,
slow
the
down.
thing is, like, I remember we had this conversation.
Can I?
Yeah.
Like, there's a secondary part of it.
Shut the fuck up.
No, that wasn't aggressive at all. But like, no, but there
Passive
is
aggressive.
that thing about the whole conversation we had at the beginning. What the fuck's happening? There's that thing about the conversation we had at the beginning of this episode. It's the whole OnlyFans thing that we're talking about. Do you think that people of who, like, think about it like this, who the fuck would pay that much money and obsess and like put their like allocate a part of their income and their like, you know, their capital towards like shit like that?
Millions of people.
Yeah, but who do you think falls to who makes
He's
up
saying
the
that
majority of
OnlyFans
that?
is the new natural selection.
No, as in like you kind of like you can
That's
kind
your
of filter
point,
out.
'cause
No,
this kind of is a fucked up thing to say, because if someone is earning money, or even if it's not earning that much money, and they decide to allocate a certain part of it to jerk off to a woman online, they should be allowed to, but they shouldn't be classified as.
I'm not saying majority. Like I'm not saying all of them are that, but I'm saying like you have to think about like the choices that people make. You know what I mean? Like if I were to allocate my money towards depreciating assets, if I were to allocate my money towards like my capital, my earning, like something that like might get that from. You were like waving it like that. I was just like get it from him. So I feel like that also is maybe my example was wrong.
Yes.
Like, okay, ouch. But maybe my example was wrong. But I'm saying like if you raise the standard about what makes what and the rules that apply and what the community and everything supports, if they were to more be concentrating on the people who are most likely be able to help the progress and the evolution.
This is the part that even last time we had this conversation in private, I have an issue with, is that it's very hard to define what is counted as progress in humanity. You can go the scientific way, like science and technology and advancement in that terms, but that would negate, because let's be honest, majority of scientists and all of that, in terms of social skills, they're dog shit, right? They're very factual. They're very like emotion doesn't play a factor in the decision making. Or so if we are putting the standards based on like, oh, human advancement would be letting more of those through rather than other aspects of whatever aspects of life, I have an issue with that, because yes, based on like science and knowledge and all of that, if you want to base everything on that, yes, certain people will rise to the top, but that doesn't necessarily make it betterment of humanity as a whole. It doesn't mean we are progressing that much, because you're like neglecting a huge aspect of humanity, which is the social structure of it. But then again, if you go the other way and put scientific ways down and just focus on a social shit, then you end up with, actually 71 genders or some shit.
Jesus Christ. But like, no, actually, you know what? I'll take my point, and I agree with you, because I feel like that's already happening anyway. Because like be able to come up with ways to be able to earn more money and everything like that, that doesn't happen with everyone. You know what I mean? Like, to be able to be creative, to be able to be an entrepreneur, to be able to like do this and that. Some people, there was this comment someone made on one of our YouTube videos, and I don't remember what subject we were talking about, but they were saying that like the whole concept of like that 9 to 5 and then get home, like do this, eat, then go back to it, that has like consumed a lot of people, that they're not able to again think freely. And that itself is already applying that like you either give in and you're like part of that structure that like you just consumed by it, and then you like you're born and then you die.
That's the whole concept of rat race.
Rat race, yeah. That's
the whole thing. And then there's a school of thought that they mention that a lot of the people who are in the rat race are just cogs in a wheel that move it, while the real thinkers are the ones who are step outside, become increasingly either poor or rich, because you yourself refuse to go into the rat race, but you're able to think outside of the 9 to 5 kind of,
But then there's a high risk that comes with that in terms of.
That's why it's either poor or rich, because high risk, high reward.
No, but that's why I said either the rich or the poor, because you have people that come out like there's Alan Watts, one of the most interesting individuals, who was himself he was a philanthropist. He did a lot of talks. He talked about many things. I think he was on drugs as well, but a lot of it, he himself only became very popular after he died, because people really didn't.
Was ahead of his time.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time, and he talked about things about why do we worry? What does worrying do? What is about thinking? Why not being in the moment? Time itself is an illusion. A lot of the things he said was considered garbage, and then a lot of people saw it later on and were like, there is something to this. But he himself didn't enjoy it, because he was an alcoholic. He was someone who was depressed. He was someone who refused to go into that 9 to 5 thing. And if you follow up his story, he failed in many ways, but decided, I think the best thing I can do is let out what I feel. And regardless, I'm happy in that sense that I'm being heard.
Just to clarify, the 9 to 5, I'm not saying it's a wrong thing to do. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not saying that at all.
I'm not saying that.
It works for some people.
A lot of people. Yeah. I'm saying like it's the routine that some people get consumed by, and then they just like become a robot in a way. Like you just become like so automated, and like this is like 1, 2, 3 done, and then sleep, wake up.
But then again, you have to think
die.
of it from the other perspective, is that some people rather focus. You do the robot routine to take care of your necessities, but your true happiness is like other aspects that like once you do the robot thing, for example, like if you are a young person that started their family early, right? And you have a bunch of kids, you don't want to take that high chance of coming out of the system, coming out of the box.
Yeah, because you have responsibility. You have people to feed.
No, but even if that wasn't a thing, your happiness comes from that.
Yeah.
So That's what I mean. That like you can't really, in terms of natural selection, there was an aspect like yes, it's true that like back in the day, like in caveman days, natural selection would get rid of like the Darwinism thing, but also at the same time it would kill a bunch of people that weren't necessarily the fittest or the smartest as well. That's why I don't think we can replicate it. It has to be by nature.
But
You
then
know? It
you-
has to be randomized.
And also, by the way, there was like a shit of luck as well, because like whole survival of the fittest and the whole Darwinism thing. Imagine you were like the leader of the pack and you were the best at whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like by chance of dumb luck, like you fuck up and like you fuck
Get
up.
hit by lightning.
Yeah, you get hit by lightning, or like you get hit, like your leg gets like you twist. Let's just say you twist your fucking ankle, and when the whole like pack of whatever was like attacking, at that point you couldn't escape and you die.
Pack of OnlyFans girls come.
That'd be a good way to go.
Consume me.
You see, Kurosh, I sacrifice myself, guys. I'll die.
Run the cameras. Rolling. No, don't do it.
Go out with one last bang.
Jesus.
On that note, let's end the episode.
You know, funny enough, I didn't get to. There was another point I
Oh,
said, but
sorry,
maybe
go
no.
ahead.
There's another point, but we'll talk about it next time because I want to flip the idea here and discuss about now, based on this all social media and people sort of selling things to get things. I also feel like in terms of the male gender, it's also as dangerous because you have these kids that at a young age.
Well, let's get into it. We don't.
No. We
We're not. We can continue.
Oh, okay. So I would say that if you look at kids now, especially, you see all of these YouTube and Instagram and all these social media outlets where you have kids, as we said, because it's not censored, watching these guys like, oh, I'm a crypto specialist. I'm someone who has a book and tells you how to get rich fast. But majority of them are Ponzi schemes. But you're giving this to children. So children are already like boys. Well, let's focus on boys here, right? They're more focused on, I can fool my audience into funding this lifestyle. And I take advantage of these people. Do you think that also is something that is, you would tell your kids and try to educate them on? Because you see a lot of kids now, especially with this social media revolution where people get just dopamine rushes by seeing people's lives and stuff. Like I've seen on Instagram, 14, maybe 17, 18-year-old kids going, I live in Dubai and I have this because I run this Forex trade and stuff. But it's all like, I get returns of 300%.
Yeah,
it's
99% not true.
Yeah, and then you have guys who are, I'm a property dealer and I do all this stuff and I actually own this penthouse which they're renting, and it's always the idea of kids, of people fooling each other. So don't you think that's dangerous because you sort of weaponize kids at a young age to be like, I need to get a one-up on this guy. I need to fool this guy so I can get this,
I think in general, my answer would be the same: censorship for kids. Like I know, like the OnlyFans thing is like majority women on it, and it would majority affect young girls watching it. But I think in the aspect of like guys and young boys, I think it would be the same thing. Again, the censorship wouldn't be effective because if you target it as like an educational thing, which I think social media should be for younger people, should be for educational purposes.
So you want to put like China on it?
Yeah, basically pull China
idea.
on it. But
No, but it's a good.
No, it's a good way to put it.
I'm
I
not
was
shooting
just
it down. Like
no,
I'm
I
saying
like
what
the
I'm
way
doing.
you put it. The
it's
phrase
exactly
I like.
what I'm saying. I'm not quite sure how. I'm sure people are gonna find loopholes around it to put their Ponzi schemes as a educational thing. But again, it will filter some of it at least. You know.
One of the best examples is actually the gaming thing. So, for example, like social media itself, it's like it shows that there's a dopamine trigger that when you go and you scroll and everything, you get a bit of a dopamine out of it. So you keep doing that, all of that, then you become what's the word?
Desensitized.
Desensitized towards it and all these stuff. Gaming itself, for example, you're in like level 1, you start, it's just like curiosity, it's free and everything like that. But there are like little by little, they're like, oh, if you want to upgrade, it's only this amount of money. Like there was this kid who like drained the
pay to win.
Yeah. Play to win. So it's pay to win. So basically, there was this kid who actually drained the life saving of a family
Because it was like on an iPad or something.
iPad. So like it were all like the credit card or whatever was applied, like was like whatever saved on it. And the kid was like, "Oh, I want to buy this skin for
Skin, yeah.
Fortnite, whatever shit it is, and like drain the fucking life saving of the whole family because there was no filtration, there's no censorship in terms of like they had access, and like obviously kids are one of the best targets in terms of like for people like this. It doesn't have like
They don't understand the gravity of what they do.
100%. Like imagine this,
Yeah,
like
consequences doesn't mean anything to a kid, you know.
yeah, exactly.
Like
you don't
life
know.
savings doesn't.
Oh,
like, money
food
doesn't.
comes always. What do you mean? Like there are this. Oh, I live in this house because I live in it. There's no concept of like, oh, what goes into that as well. So all these stuff, like kids are not aware of it. Just like I said, there's no consequences. So obviously they're the best target. And a lot of times, one of the reasons, like because a parent will always want to make their kid happy, and oh, this person has this, whatever, like that. It's so much easier for me to make my kid happy to buy them this, and then like just like we said, like, you warm up to it, like oh, like let me buy this, and then I'll buy that, and all this, and then you have so much useless crap that it's actually worthless in like in a actual sense, but like no, the
Yeah, but
kid
then
there was a
again,
hype for it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
But if again the same argument that like if you do the censorship and it filters a percentage of it and you leave it to the parents somewhat, then if the parents fucks up that way,
No, the
So
pay
on the
for the pay to win kind of games
Yeah.
would be to people who are more aware of like maybe there'll be an age limit for it. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like
But
you
that's been an argument within, like, I mean, in the US, because a lot of games, as you've mentioned, they need like some form of verification or something like that, and you know they put a wall where they're like, "Are you sure you want to buy this?" You know.
yeah, but, are you kidding me? Like
Yeah, but that's kind of like
yes,
the
I'm
porn
sure.
website, Are
like,
you 18? Bitch, if I'm on the
They're
porn
doing the bare minimum. That's what I'm saying.
It's
Yeah.
it doesn't like help a lot because like yeah, an extra click in terms of marketing or like in a business, they always say the fastest way you get the person from seeing the product to the checkout to purchasing it, if there are less clicks, the easier it
more
is for them
yeah.
to purchase it. But if it's a kid, they have there's a lot of impulse control when there's a kid. There's not a lot of like for them they just want to do it. So in that case, when it comes to that, just saying, are you sure you want to purchase this, or are you like whatever it is, doesn't do jack
enough,
shit.
yeah.
Like that's the whole case of it. You know what I mean? So like that pay to win, whatever it is.
It's just pay to win.
Okay, pay. I know I'm fucking
You're
up
saying
that.
play to win, yeah.
So the pay to win kind of a thing, if there was to be only accessible to certain ages, that would make it easier. Because I remember like when we were kids, like Assassin's Creed and like some other games and everything, it was like 18 plus. We all fucking played it. It's not like there was anything to it, but now it's different. Like it's so
Vivid.
it's so nicely done as well. There is a
When you push that knife through the guy's throat.
no. I'm not talking about like that. I mean the pleasure.
Come on, we
of
all play
that.
Call of Duty here. Like,
Yeah, but no, I'm saying about the whole concept of how they kind of persuade you in paying. You know, like, oh, if you're part of this team, you need to have this rank. Oh, if you pay this much, you'll immediately get this rank. So already full to do that.
The thing is with capitalism, you can't blame private companies for doing that. You have to blame the government for not stopping it.
yeah, but they're part of that. That's the thing, you know. Like, if you look at it, lobbyists and such,
Yeah,
you know,
of
it's the
course,
whole
yeah.
idea. But I'm saying more of I understand that point. That's a given, right? That's
But like more
capitalism
like
at
the
its
social
finest, right?
media aspect of
But
it.
it's more of individuals now. You know, like I feel like, you know, the honesty, because of this, you know, it's like a new vice or a new sin we have where we need to show off all of our things, and because we're so intertwined with the whole world, you know, you see a guy who's only driving a Ferrari and he's only 21 or something like that, and then he talks about, oh, you know, like I'm sure you guys have seen, it always pops up in the news, YouTuber involved in scam for crypto,
Yeah.
involved, like there's no remorse of it, you know, and I feel like when kids see that okay, Logan Paul has a huge house in Costa Rica, has all this, has all that, okay, he messed over some people and stuff like that, but I want that too, and I know that the way I can get it is by getting these people's trust and then pissing them over. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that mission of working hard and working well is something that is really going away, because also with OnlyFans I have no problem with the person doing it, right?
It's the effect it has.
But it's the sell yourself to get the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sell. Although now the lines between what is considered moral and not moral is very blurred. You know, as you said, TikTok. I remember when I first got TikTok. I got TikTok when it like came out because I remember I was just scrolling and I saw this new app that was trending in the App Store. Bro, at the time, it was full on porn on TikTok. Like you would swipe and you just see people at it, you know, and yeah, it's like I think that the lines between like what was acceptable 50 years ago, I think those lines also help contribute to that, you know, since everything's on the table, I can also, you know, lie to people. I can also do this. I'm not saying that the people who, you know, do OnlyFans are bad people, because I respect that more than the guy who's trying to sell us Ponzi scheme.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think the most realistic way is not the censorship. It's none of that, or going back to old lines. Realistically, that's never gonna happen. I think the most realistic thing that's gonna happen is we give it another 20 years with social media,
Yeah.
and like 20, 30 years, whatever, the older generations start dying off, and the younger generations that are born into it are born into it, adapted to everything. I think it's just too new, too different.
Time will adjust the whole
I think that
overcompensation.
the realistic way is
happened to
because
us.
governments aren't going to change. They're not suddenly all going to become, man of the people, for the people type of shit. That's never going to happen in majority of governments. Private companies aren't going to stop themselves from ways they can make money to exploit people.
True.
People who do Ponzi schemes are never going to go away.
They've always been there, exactly.
Yeah,
but
they've
now
always
they
been
have
there,
that
not
huge
the-
market.
Yeah, the market. So I think the only thing is over time we adapt to this very new thing that has changed humanity.
Yeah.
And it might not be our parents' generations. It's not gonna be might not be our generation. It might not even be our children. It could be a generation after them or a generation after that. That it becomes so integrated in our life, and we learn how to suss through the bullshit the way we've done in previous generations with other things.
It is already like I believe that already can happen too. By the way, just the whole concept of like, oh, there is that look, less clicks, like the faster way to buy the product, because of the whole concept, like Amazon, for example. Before you order something, you have to wait a month or whatever for it to arrive. But now I want it now. I want it like
That
this
day.
second,
Same
that
day
day.
delivery.
Let me pay extra. I want it like by this evening. No, if you can be quicker, let's do that. That kind of a mindset itself has kind of killed the patience, and actually made people in a way that like made them need the fast pace. And through that, for example, you're like, oh, I think this is good. Let me, the Ponzi scheme, for example. Oh, it's presented to you. Let me try it. Okay. You don't actually go do the research, read through it and stuff like that. There has been so many times that I've seen an ad or whatever it is about this book or about this program and all these stuff. Then I actually went and read the reviews. I looked into it. I watched the videos on it and everything.
Yeah.
Then I realized this bullshit. So then
But
I was like, okay, I'm not going to fucking do it.
But not a lot of people have that.
Not a lot of people do it because I feel like now, because of the whole trend of fast pace, I want to now, no patience, impulse, and all this has kind of blown over the whole concept of filtration, reviews, and everything like that. So I feel like,
but then it's gonna be trial and error again.
true.
You, for example, with the Ponzi schemes, depending on how smart you are or how much time you want to dedicate into researching, you keep giving them money, you keep getting fucked over. You
Yeah.
do it over and over again. You either learn or you go bankrupt, and then it just becomes trial and error, like we've done
that's a
in
good
the
way of-
history of humanity. You know.
That's a good way of
Alright.
putting it.
Let's end the episode here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching this episode of the podcast. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow our social media accounts if you like our content. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you guys. Goodbye.
See you.